'Cause I don't know how this gonna end. Oh no. Tell me now, tell me something. 'Cause I don't wanna be just friends. No, no. Yeah.
So jumping right into the book haul, the very first author that I ended up picking up is a new author for me, somebody that I follow on TikTok actually reviewed some of her books. I went to this author's website directly and I found these ones. These ones just seemed like they were the most interesting to me. These ones are Savage Vow, Stolen Innocence, and Violent Delights. I don't remember exactly what the name of the series is, but this is the discreet version of these books. I believe that the original books come with people on the cover, and so I opted for these. These ones look the best on my shelf. I prefer these over actually having people on the covers, and so I went ahead and picked these ones up to start off with. I love these. Like, you just discreet editions, so beautiful. And then this next book, and the one that I'm kind of a little bit worried about, which I'll go into in a second, this one is called The Toyo Empire by J.L. Beck. It is a special edition. The camera doesn't know justice. The pictures online doesn't know justice. This book is so beautiful. So beautiful. I love the coordination between the red on the front, the red on the spine, and then the red on the actual edges of the sprayed edges of the book. It's got gold foiling on it. It's 3 books in one, which if you watch my videos, you know that I prefer, especially when buying a new author's books, to get omnibuses versus getting like the individual books. It's more cost effective. I have more books readily available to me in one sitting and like in one piece or in one book, rather than having to carry around 3 and 4 books if I ever end up carrying the books with me. So I'm glad to have this one. It's beautiful on the inside. All of the books are signed. All of the books have the title pages that are a little bit darker. So it's got like the blackout edition of the pages along with the title pages of each chapter. They're all dual POV. What drew me to these books was the fact that the main male characters are protective and obsessive over their women. Like, each and every single book, the synopsis mentions that, where there's some reason to protect a woman, but the guy is like super protective over his woman. And then there is like an obsession, like they are just obsessed. And I just, chef's kiss. I love that for me. I love that to experience in a book. And it's like an auto buy for me when it comes to that. Now, this one, I'm a little worried about this one only because this one is an age gap, and normally I am against age gaps in books because it gives me the ick. A lot of times with age gaps, you have the author that focuses where the guy, and most of the time the guy is the older person, but the younger one is like freshly 18, or she's a virgin, or there's some type of fetishization of the fact that she is so young. In this one, it is a daughter's best friend trope. And so I didn't know that when I was going into buying the book, I'm not gonna lie. But then when I read the back of the book, it mentions that. So I'm a little worried about it, but I'm gonna be open to it. I'm gonna still read it as long as the author does not make that the focal point of their romance. Like, it's not like the guy is only into her because, she's, freshly 18. It doesn't mention exactly what her age is in this book. Like I said, as long as it doesn't like fall into that category, and it's just the fact that she's just a little bit younger, maybe that's a little bit forbidden because, she is the daughter's friend or whatever the case may be, but it's not like,
oh my god, she's so young. Oh my god, she's so pretty.
I think I can get past that part if the story is good and there's not that component in it. I just don't want to get the ick. Even if I do, the book is beautiful. And it looks good on my shelf. So I really can't go wrong with this. But I'm really hoping and praying that I love it. And I'm hoping and praying that it doesn't fall into that category. It is just fiction. So I can get around it. I can wrap my mind around it as long as it doesn't fall into that. I'm hoping like the younger girl, I hope that she's like at least 25. That's what I'm hoping for. Fingers crossed. But we shall see. The next book is The Canary Cowards by Jessie Hall. I saw Larry Reed's do a video on the other book by this author. I think it's like green something or green something like that, right? And that one seemed a little bit too dark for my liking. It didn't seem like something that I would be into, but it was a new author for me, so I did some digging and I found this one. It's a sports romance. Your standard sports romance, or at least standard characteristics of the characters, specifically the football player, because this is a football romance. The football player is described as like arrogant. He gets all the girls. He doesn't fall for nobody, etc., etc. So I was like, okay, this could be a good choice to start off with, and then if I like this book, I'll end up getting more from this author. The next one is actually the only thriller in this haul, but if you guys have been watching my videos for a long time, you know that this book, I actually talked about this book a long time ago, like when it first released. This one is called That's Not My Name by Megan Lawley. This book, it has that theme of the main character wakes up and they lose all their memory from the past, so they don't remember everything. I have a few other books that are like this, whether that is they don't remember like a certain time period, whether that's like 5 or 10 years, or they completely forget everything from their past. And then as you go into the story, you start to uncover more secrets, you start to uncover more plot twists and stuff like that. And so I'm excited to have this one because it intrigued me then, but I just didn't and couldn't justify spending like the $18 on it. And at the time it was buy one get one free or buy one get one 50% off, but there was no other book there that would have justified me picking it up. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just wait, and I'm glad I did because I got a really good deal on it in comparison to the price point when it first came out. This next one is an indie author, another one from Larry Reed's that she unboxed, and so the cover was what drew my attention, and then the little blurbs on the back is what kept my attention. I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. This one is called After Hours by Jada West. This is the Timeless Love series, book 1. I think this is her debut, so if there hasn't been a second or third book come out yet, there likely will be one. But kind of made me purchase it are these two little blurbs on the back, at the top and the bottom. So it says, when a chance internship in the Big Apple brings together two wounded souls, the sparks fly, but so do the secrets. In this sizzling romance, two broken hearts must confront their darkest fears and confront the ultimate question: is their love worth it? And I was like, you know what? That sounds good. So I'm gonna add it to my cart. The next book is a blind buy for me. I was on TikTok and I landed in this author's live. I don't know how I got there, but I just happened to be there. And she was talking about her books. She was promoting other books, but then I found this one and I was like, this is perfect because it is an omnibus. So it has 4 books in one. It's got 4 books in one. But this is the Sign of Love series by Tanya Clark. All I needed to know was that it was an indie author and it was a romance novel, and I was like, pack it up. Now, the next book is another omnibus. I've been loving these, as y'all know. This one is called Fight For Me by A.L. Jackson. This is the complete series in one. I don't love this cover. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't love this cover, and I was almost debating not getting it because of the cover. But I was like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? What if I end up loving the book? Let me not be so surface level. And so I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? Let me not be childish and buy the book. I do have other books by this author. They're actually right behind me. And so I was like, you know what? This is one series that I don't have. It's an omnibus. It's all in one. And Amazon was also having a sale on it where it was marked down a little bit. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and purchase it. And we shall see. But the cover was just something that I was a little bit hesitant about. The next couple of books are actually all going to be indie authors. The first book, it's called Loved by You by Alexandria Lachelle. The reviews that I saw on this book were really good. And then not to mention, the cover is beautiful. Like this cover, I love the monochromatic browns and the different tones of the browns in this cover. I don't have anything that looks like this on my shelf, so I'm really excited for that. It is dual POV, which I love. I love me a dual POV, and those were the only components that I needed to be able to purchase it. We'll likely end up putting that into a vlog. And then this next book is a new book. It's an auto by author for me, but it's a new book in her new series. And it's her most recent release. This one is called The World Around Us by Lauren Lacey. We have known about this book for a long time. If you've been following Lauren Lacey for a while, you knew that she was going to be coming out with this book. She was giving little like teasers of it, and she was giving us little previews of like her coming out with the book well before she actually ended up releasing it. As soon as the release date was here, I went ahead and purchased it. And she does have 2 other series. All of them are slightly different though. So like she had a Billionaire Novella series, which if you haven't picked up that series, I would highly recommend doing so. It's a good way to dip your toes into her writing. And once you get a taste of her writing, it's so good. It's so digestible. Her characters are so relatable. Even though that series is like a billionaire romance, it had me cackling. The characters were amazing. The found family was amazing. And so I definitely recommend that series if you haven't read anything by her and you wanted to dabble in. And then she has a small town romance, which is like Love You Always, Love You Forever, Love You Till the End. That series as well. Wonderful series. Like I said, she is an auto-buy author for me. And then this one is a sports romance. So it's like she's got a little bit of everything, and I absolutely love that. I'm excited to see what she does with this world, and how this series plays out, because I think there's going to be a couple of books in this series. Then we have these next two books are just sequels to books that I already own. So this one is called Without Fault by Janaya Benitez. I did not look at what the synopsis was about because I haven't read the first book yet. I don't want to spoil anything, and I don't know if they're interconnected standalones or if these are like true sequels to the first book. The cover of this is amazing. The first book is a baseball romance, and I'm not sure if this is another baseball player or if it's just in the same world. So there's that. And then we have Troubled Waters by Z. Renee. This is the sequel to All In. And again, didn't read the back, saw the release date, purchased the book because I just don't want to spoil myself in case it is a true sequel to the previous book. Speaking of indie authors, I read some of Christina C. Jones' books and I ate up every last one of them. Every last one of them. Then I saw, and I've had this series in my wish list for a very, very, very long time. And I'm surprised that nobody has talked about this series at all. I don't know if I'm just late to the game with looking at these books and finding these books. I don't know if everybody's already read them and they've already moved on from the series, but I am so surprised I don't see this anywhere mentioned on TikTok, on BookTube. I don't see it anywhere. And it is the Connecticut King series by Love Belvin and Christina C. Jones. These books are all co-written by each other. So every book, one author, it's either one or the other. And it's a football series. I believe it's college football. Don't quote me on that. It's either college or high school, but I'm pretty sure it's college the last time I checked. And it's 9 books in this series. So there are 9 total books in the series. Like I said, each book is co-written by one or the other. And it's got books 1 through 9. And I'm excited to jump into these because, like I said, I love Christina C. Jones's writing. She makes me laugh. She makes her characters extremely relatable. And it's so heartwarming. And I know that I love her writing. I have not read anything by Love Belvin just yet. So we're going to see. But I don't know. I assume that if they're co-writing books together, that I'm going to love it. If you've read this series, please let me know down in the comments what you thought about it. Or if you've seen anybody talk about it, please let me know what you've heard of that series, because I have not. And like I said, they've been on my TBR for forever. And I haven't seen anybody talk about it, but they've been on my TBR. I finally bit the bullet and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and purchase these because I really want to read them and do a video with them. I feel like that would be really fun. Now, I did pick up a few fantasy. I'm trying to expand my fantasy bookshelves. I have about 4 bookshelves with fantasy, and I'm not going to lie, 2 of these were cover buys. One's an indie author, and then a few of these books, it's a box set. So this box set is something that I need in order to start another series that I have on my bookshelf that's from the same author. It's like a whole world, it's a whole thing. You'll understand in a second. So the first fantasy that I picked up is Under the Oak Tree. Now this has been everywhere on Booktok, and I'm ashamed to say it, but not really. I bought this as a cover buy. It was a cover buy for me. The illustrations on this book are so beautiful. You've got the sprayed edges with the quote on the side, and then the sprayed edges with the design on the top and the bottom. The end papers are also beautiful as well. I've heard nothing but great things about this as well, so that kind of added to my justification for buying it. And it was relatively cheap. For as beautiful as this book was, it was only like $20. So I went ahead and picked this one up. The next one was a little bit of an auto buy, kind of, sort of. I found this author on TikTok. It's an indie author, and she was advertising on TikTok her hardback version that she was selling through the TikTok shop. However, I just couldn't justify spending $50 to $60 on one book alone simply because it was a hardback and a special edition, especially after I found this one on Amazon for like $20, less than half the price. So this is The Shadows of Camelot. This is the Omnibus Special Edition by Bree Moore. This book is so beautiful. The illustrations on the front, the illustrations on the back, the blurb on the back, the little quote, it says, "Why else do we tell stories except to hide the truth where the worthy and wise will find it?" It's just the wording of that. It was an easy done deal for me, especially with it only being $20 or like a little over $20. It's got beautiful illustrations on the inside. The edges, they are printed edges, so they're not sprayed like some of the other books. They are printed, but I think that the hardback is the same way. And I've actually seen more indie authors do it that way versus actually doing the sprayed edges. I'm not sure if that's like a cost thing or whatever, but it still looks absolutely beautiful. The biggest difference between this book and the hardback, other than the fact of the formatting of it being paperback versus hardback, is the sprayed edges on the hardback. It is in color versus in black and gray, which I was okay with. If I end up absolutely loving this book, maybe I'll go back in and one day buy the hardback, but I'll settle with this one for right now. It's so beautiful. And I also want to give credit where credit's due, because I don't think this is talked about enough, but indie authors, they spearheaded the direction of the publishers going into the direction of releasing so many special editions. And honestly, the last couple of years, we've really started to see regular schmegular readers, or just readers in general, having more access to special editions. We're getting reprinted covers, we're getting revamped covers, we are getting publishers that are picking up indie authors' books, revamping the covers, giving them sprayed edges, and re-releasing them, and a lot of times even at a cheaper price than the original indie covers were. And I love that for the book community. Before the last couple of years, it was very hard to find special editions. Of course, we've always had like the book box special editions, the subscription boxes and stuff like that, but indie authors really took the lead in that, and they created these books that were accessible to normal people. And the other thing too is, like, they're releasing their regular books, like their first edition of their books, in these beautiful covers with sprayed edges sometimes, or they'll release an illustrated version of their books. And I absolutely love that. We're getting more omnibuses, so we are getting more books where they're putting all books combined into one, which I love that. I love the direction that the book world has gone to, and it's continuing to go to. It does get a little excessive sometimes, like having the different Target and Walmart and exclusive editions where they have certain content that are in certain ones, et cetera, et cetera. It's a little bit much, but I will say that I appreciate indie authors and what they've done in creating not only wonderful works of art as far as like the stories that they're telling, but also prioritizing making the books look beautiful as well. Like, I see some TikTokers that have beautiful bookshelves because they have so many special editions, and I love that for us. Absolutely love that for us. Anyways, off of my tangent, the last box set that I got, or the last fantasy that I got, is the Cassandra Clare Infernal Devices series. So you guys will have to tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, because this is still really new to me. Apparently, the Cassandra Clare situation is a whole world. There's like multiple series intertwined within the same world. There's a certain reading order. I've done a lot of research between TikToks and YouTube videos and articles, even looked at the author's website and things of that nature to try to find out what is the best sequence of reading the books. And apparently you're supposed to start with this series and then go into the Mortal Instrument series, which is the series that I already have. I bought that box set not knowing that you should start with this. Now, granted, I've also heard that you can kind of start pretty much wherever in each series. So you can technically start with the Mortal Instrument series and then, filter your way throughout all of them. But I've heard that the best reading order is reading these first. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I want to get started in that world this year. And so I wanted to make sure that I was prepared by getting that series first. And then moving right along, so this is Cruel King by Rena Kent. I'm not, you know what? I did not see this when I was originally purchasing all the rest of the books in the series. And this one isn't numbered. Like all of the other books have like a number. This one says book 1, book 2, etc., etc., etc. This does not say that. I'm pretty sure that this one is a prequel, if I'm not mistaken. But I have to read the series before I read the Legacy of God series. I don't have to, but they say it's better to because these are the parents of the Legacy of God characters. So I wanted to grab this one and add that just to make sure that I had it, and then I'll get into the reading order when I'm actually ready to read. The next book is called What We Keep by Jennifer Milliken. This one was mentioned by a booktalker that I fully trust her reviews. So this is a firefighter who ends up saving the female main character from a burning building, and their love story doesn't end there. It's very cute. I love the whole he saves her kind of thing. I love the blue collar police officer, firefighter, all of that. I love all of that, mechanic, etc., etc. So but it doesn't stop there. They get married and then they end up having some marriage troubles, which tests their love. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and she was raving about it. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and pick it up and see for myself. It's a beautiful cover. This is like a special edition of this book, and so I'm excited to get into this one. So this next book has been on my TBR for forever, but it wasn't until they released the new cover that I immediately purchased it. The original cover of this book, I just wasn't in a rush to buy it. I didn't hate the cover, but it also wasn't drawing me into actually like buying it immediately. But then I saw this one and I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'll go ahead and do that. And this one is called Under Lock by Mariana Zapata. As we know, it is a slow burn, and in true Mariana Zapata fashion, the main male character is a grumpy, asshole, rude boss. It's the female main character's boss. He's a tattoo shop owner, and essentially they don't get along in the beginning, as always, and then there's a slow burn, of course. It doesn't say too much on the back about what the book is about, which I'm happy about, but if it's Mariana Zapata, and if it's in any fashion of her other books, I'm sure I will like it. And then the next two books is just to finish out a series that I already purchased by an indie author. This is the last two books in the Sutton Mountain series. It is Chase Our Forever and Tempt Our Fate. These are the alternate versions or the alternate editions, the discrete editions of these two books. The original books come with the same, like similar color scheme and the same similar format, but with people on the cover. And I opted to go ahead and get these two. We have a billionaire romance, a billionaire small town romance, and then we also have, I believe this one is a single dad and live-in nanny romance. So we got a little bit of everything in that series. All the series have different components combined with small town, which I really love. And then the last three books in this haul. So these books have also been on my TBR for forever. Like they've been on my TBR and in my wish list on Amazon for forever, but I was never in a rush to buy them until I saw them listed on Pango Books, and the seller was selling them for super cheap. I think I spent like $25 on all three of these books, no more than $25 on all three of these books, and they're $25 a piece on Amazon. And that is the sports romance series by Candy Steiner. So we have Fair Catch, we have Blind Side, and then Quarterback Sneak. These are the first three books in that series. And when these books were making their rounds on BookTube and Booktok, there was nothing but great things that people were saying about this book series. And it's a football romance, so I feel like you can't really go too wrong with the football romance. So I went ahead and picked these up, and again, just for the price point itself, and them being brand new, there's nothing wrong with them. They're hardbacks. Again, these go for $25 plus on Amazon individually. And I got such a good deal on these, so I could not pass these up. So thank you guys so much for watching. Those are all the books that I picked up this go around. If you like this video, like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.